I changed to English. And I'm happy to introduce you our next speaker. The story behind our cooperation began 2 years ago when Oskari and I began addressing the problem of how to support young people with foster care background in a new, innovative way. We were interested in digital platforms that could provide a channel for peer support. And luckily, our communication specialist Elina Pitkäranta tipped us off about Futurice Chilicorn Fund, which is doing pro bono digital projects for non-profits and NGOs. So that's how we met Sebi, who is the designer at Chilicorn Fund, and right now, and right from the beginning of our cooperation, we found that we share the same aspiration to make this world a little bit better place. So through our collaboration, we have learned a lot about design thinking, lean service creation, and the interesting but also complex process of creating mobile app. That wasn't that easy. So 2 years and many inspiring meetings later, we are here and we have really launched our important project together. So please join me in welcoming Sebi Tauciuc, designer from Futurice.
No, moi kaikille.
Moi.
Kiitos, että saan puhua englanniksi tänään. Varmasti se on vähän nopeasti. Se menee vähän nopeasti ja toivottavasti te ymmärrätte parempi, mitä yritän sanoa. Hi. So, most of you in this room work for non-profits. A big part of you from SOS-Lapsikylän, I suppose. I hear there are some other non-profits in the house, and maybe some of you work for the public sector. And I suppose most of you know a lot about child protection and how to do it in practice and why it's important, and maybe some of you know even the business case for it, why it's important to invest in it. So I thought that, okay, there's nothing really new that I could add on this topic, and I thought that could I bring you something else that is useful. And one thing that you might not know is why Futurice is even interested in doing a project like this. Why, what's in it for us? What's the business case, so to say? So this is what this will be about, and not only Futurice, but I believe that there's a bigger thing happening in the whole world that this kind of is a part of, and I think that might have something to do, might go back to the work that you're doing, and hopefully I give you some good things to think about there. Okay. I want to start by showing you this. So this is the announcement that I made on our internal communication channel about the launch of this project. And there was, some of you may know, there was a Hesari article about it. And you don't have to read, please don't read all of it so that you can listen to what I say. But I can walk you through of some of the points that are here. So at the bottom you see those are reactions. So there's also comments below. But those are reactions that our employees have when we make announcements like these. So you see there are a few claps, a few hearts, and a few chili corns. And chili corn is the symbol of giving back, of doing good at Futurice. And it's something that many of us employees are really proud about. And we feel that it's real, and it's maybe one of the most valuable symbols we have inside Futurice. Another thing that is here, you see Ivan. Ivan is right there, and Puru. So Oskari and Kata mentioned them already. They are the ones that contributed most to this project. They did all the hard work, and thank you a lot again for all your commitment and effort. They have put, and the thing is they started as students, you heard, on this. Then they continued a bit on their free time. One of them, Pyry, continued as a summer intern at Futurice, so we were able to hire him to continue on the project, which was really good. And then Ivan, luckily for us, maybe not so luckily for his previous employer, joined us. He was already a senior developer who happened to be in that course for some reason, but he joined us as well. Yeah, and another thing that I'm mentioning here is that Pyry, he started as working on a part of the software as a student, but then during the summer he continued with ownership of virtually everything that had to do with the app. So he still got support from Ivan, who was more senior, but he had really a lot to stretch and a lot to learn to push this through in the end. And if he were here, I would apologize to him because it was painful, but that's how learning experiences are sometimes, and you know that as well. Yeah, so why am I making these points? Because these are exactly the business case for us. So this is the value, the business value that these kind of collaborations can create for Futurice. So we have a mission to do good with chili corn, and I think it's important, quite important to Futurice as well. Even though this is business value creation, I really don't believe that business is only about profit. The companies should have a reason to exist, something of value that they're creating. So I wanted to have that here. Then the employee pride and commitment. You saw the reactions, and we get those quite often from activities like this. But why is that so important? Well, a company like Futurice, what we do is we offer our services to bigger companies who have usually lots of money, but our services are very useful to them. So we may create software where we may help them step into the future, all kinds of things. So for that we need the best people. And you know, there's only so far that beer and pizzas take you. Futurice already has a pretty good working culture, which makes it an attractive employer. But at some point, you know, even that may not be enough for some people, or something like this can contribute to that even further, so that we are more proud to work there, where we feel more meaning about our work. Then recruiting, we have a few of these student collaborations ongoing. So it's partly a conscious effort or conscious investment from us to have these collaborations, because we know that we might recruit from them. Sorry. And then, as I said, Pyry has had a lot to learn. Skills development is very important for a company like us, because in the end that's what we sell. We sell people who know stuff, who can do stuff. So this is why that's valuable. Okay, so but this is Futurice. Are we a special case, or is there more of this happening? And maybe not so many other examples that I can give from Finland, but I feel there are strong signs that a bigger thing is happening or is going to happen. So first, on the employee side, this is just one example I found to prove the point that I already believe. But of course, having meaningful work is very important to many of us. It's universal. It's not just for some. So once the basic salary is in place, this becomes really important. So for all companies for whom the workforce is important, this should be important as well. And I don't know how many of you have seen this article. I'm not into investment myself, but this is a big investment firm, asset manager, so they use investors' money to invest into companies. Early this year, they sent a really strong message to their CEOs, the CEOs in their portfolio, that, hey, you better start doing good things for the world, or risk losing our support. Okay, since then they dimmed down the message a bit, but still this was a pretty strong sign for the business community. Okay, and then this is a very interesting example from Helsinki. It's a startup called the Upright Project. They just had a presentation in Futurice a couple of days ago in an event. What they're trying to do, or what they're working on, is measuring the net impact of a company. So that means that they could in theory take any company and give a number saying how evil or good the company is. So not sustainability reports, not words, but like a number. And they're not doing this just by checking the air. They have really sophisticated software. They use machine learning. They use a database of I don't know how many hundreds of thousands research articles that they feed into the algorithm to end up with this one simple number. So very interesting. They still have some assumptions to work on, but very interesting work. And they shared one example. So for instance, if you take McDonald's, there was apparently some news piece that, okay, we're embracing energy efficiency in some of our restaurants. And this is nice and all, but if you know the huge negative impact that McDonald's is having on health throughout the entire world, you realize that, okay, they shouldn't even mention this because it's just a drop in the water and it's clear that it's in the sea, so it's clear that it's just greenwashing. So just out of curiosity, they put McDonald's through their algorithm, and they have a scale in terms of relative scale. They have a scale from -5 to +5. They have also an absolute scale, which is an absolute number, but on the relative scale, McDonald's came in at -3.5. If you think about their size, you can do the math for yourself about their impact. Okay, and also related to the Upright project, what they're doing, there's this concept of shared value. So this is not new, but it's still very relevant. So the idea that creating economic value, so profits, at the same time as creating social value by doing something for society. And you probably are familiar with social enterprises. So companies who are for profit, but they start from a do-good mission. So they are already doing this, and they're it's a trend that is happening more and more, or popping up. But is there a reason to believe, based on all the other indicators as well, that soon also the big players would have to think about this? So that they would have to think, okay, how can we change our course? How can we rethink our mission in order to not just make profits, but make profits by giving something to society? So now, okay, I'm a bit extrapolating here, and it's a big assumption, but could it mean that big companies, in addition to the social enterprises who are coming already, could it mean that the big companies have to come to fields like child protection or similar fields that are normally handled by non-profits or the public sector? If that were the case, what would it mean? Of course, for all of us as individuals and for the world, it could only be a good thing, because it would mean that more people are working on problems that matter, right? So it calls for celebration. But in terms of organizations, what could it mean for non-profits? Would there be competition for doing this work, or are there opportunities for collaboration and getting more things done? in the field? You know, should you prepare to be better, or should you prepare to learn how to collaborate? And we have this question that we're asking at the moment, and the question is at Futurice, and the question is this: how might we use the combined strength of for-profits and non-profits to create economic value while solving the world's biggest problems? And we think we may have an answer. There's a business offering that we're putting together for our commercial clients, but regardless of our answer, this is still a question for both industries, that is there room for real collaboration and not just, you know, saying that we should collaborate. And well, based on this project and based on a few other projects that we've been doing, we could say that yes, there is a possibility to create shared value, but also based on what we learned from these projects, it doesn't come by itself. There's some effort to be done, and there are some things to be put in place in order to make it possible. So, for example, for this one I have notes to make sure. So for the for-profit companies, they might need to look beyond the next quarter, a bit further into the future, you know, and think, okay, will our business be sustainable? What can we do beyond next quarter's profits to make sure that we are still in business in a few years? Maybe they need to care more about the world, not just in the CSR department, but really in the board, the C-level, because that's where their company exists and can be successful. And maybe they need to try new approaches, because again, these models don't just work in reality how they work on the paper. You have to try to create action to see what works and then iterate. What could it mean for nonprofits? Now, I'm not talking based on my experience with SOS-Lapsikylän, but we've had many of these projects. And one thing I noticed that in terms of, for instance, digitalization, the businesses are going through digital transformation now, or are completing it. But nonprofits are, in my opinion, way behind. So is there some work to be done there to, you know, to support this? There's a lot of efficiency and effectiveness to be gained from finding more innovative solutions. You know, should there be more frames created for employees to have the time to work on these projects, more skills to be taught, technical skills, digital skills? Is there cultural transformation needed? So a few things to think about. And then there's the individual level, that what do we need to do as employees, as people. And I think for now SOS-Lapsikylän, you just need to get more of Kata and Oskari. And I think I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys for the amazing collaboration, for your dedication to your own work and to this project, and for always, you know, being there when it was needed for you to be there. Sometimes you were even there when it wasn't really useful for you, but thank you for that as well. And thank you for your patience. This hasn't been like perfectly smooth, but we got there in the end. And I think most importantly, thank you for your courage, for throwing yourselves into a completely unknown domain where there was a lot of stretching to do and a lot to learn, and, you know, just going for the ride. So yeah, that was it. Thank you very much.
So, is there any questions from the audience to Sebi? everybody are like, I don't want to speak English.
Mä ymmärrän suomea. Mä voin vastata englanniksi.
But I have one question. It's very loud one, so you can put your mic back on. What are the 3 most important lessons that you have learned, like through our project?
Well, one thing I learned that, I mean, I don't know if it's a learning, but it was really impressive for me to see, like, really the dedication you have for your own work, and understanding that it's really hard work, and well, I'm not sure. I don't know your salaries, but I'm not sure if it's paid to you know to the level of how hard it is. So that's one thing. Of course, how to run these projects, I always learn, and some things that I learn across these projects, maybe. I knew that we shouldn't have left Furu alone, but but there was no way around it. One thing, okay, maybe I get away like with, that's the second. Maybe one thing that was interesting and maybe unique to this project is that you talked about the lean service creation and asking why all the time, and you know, making sure that we're doing the right thing, because of course building something is really expensive in reality. And there was one point, in summer that we realized that okay, we can't really validate that this is going to work, and we can't really validate that it is not going to work. So that was like really interesting, kind of the edge of our methodology, that okay, now what? So then it was a call that okay, this is so important that we need to try anyway, and then see how it works. Because I'm a big fan of prototyping, so normally, you know, everything you can find out by prototyping and experimenting. But this, like, it seemed like, okay, we won't know until we try to reach them, because that was the question, can we reach the audience or not? Yeah, so that was super interesting.
Thanks for making that leap of faith. And thanks for, you know, like, awesome cooperation. It has been very thoughtful to us also.
Yeah, thanks.
But thanks. Can we give an applause again? Niin, nyt on varmaan...
Loppulaulu.
Niin, loppulaulu. Haluatko sä laulaa?
Ei. Nyt jos sä laulat.
Tää oli, siis kiitos mielettömästi. Me halutaan kiittää ensinnäkin teitä kaikkia osallistujia. Ja ehdottomasti tulkaa haastamaan ja haastattelemaan meitä lisää vielä tähän applikaatioon liittyen sitten, kun olette saanut vähän prosessoitua tätä kaikkea tietomäärää, mitä tänään olette saanut mieleenne. Ja me halutaan erityisesti kiittää SOS-Lapsikylää ja SOS-Lapsikylän työntekijöitä siitä suuresta avusta, että me ollaan ylipäätänsä tavoitettu tähän toiminnan piiriin sijaishuollosta aikuistuneita. Ja sitten totta kai me halutaan kiittää kaikkia meidän yhteistyötahoja, niin kuin A-klinikkasäätiötä, mikä on ollut hienoja nettivertaisryhmiä, lasisen lapsuuden ryhmiä, olette yhdessä vetäneet. Ja sitten toki Futurice ja Aalto-yliopisto, isot yhteistyökumppanit, ja ilman teitä emme olisi tässä.
Joo, kyllä. Haluan kiittää omasta puolestani myös samoja tahoja kuin Kaata tuossa äsken, ja erityisesti nyt vielä pitää korostaa niin kuin Ivanin, Tyry ja Joonaksen panosta, että ehdottomasti heille suuri kiitos. Ja Niin, oikeastaan mä haluan myös kiittää sua, Kata. Sun kanssa on ollut aivan loistava tämä yhteistyöt 3 vuotta. Kiitos. Mutta ei muuta kuin viikonlopun viattoon.